That's the kind of person who makes an entire YouTube channel to tell you to quit playing World of Warcraft. Yo, what's up everyone? So today I got more of a lighthearted one. Hopefully it's fun for y'all. It's gonna be the 6 types of WoW doomers. That's right. I'm gonna be poking fun at myself and some other people in the community of World of Warcraft who kind of, have been writing it off for some time. Let's just say that. But yeah, if you do like this type of content, please leave a like on the video and consider subscribing to the channel. I do make a lot of content like this, and I plan on making kind of a follow-up video like this to the 6 types of WoW copers, maybe in a week or two, depending on how well this video does. So stay tuned for that, but let's just get into the first type. All right, so for the first type of WoW doomer, I have the classic doomer. Yes, this is the person who all the way back, starting in the Burning Crusade, was typing in, trade chat, general chat, this game sucks, this game is dying, Blizzard doesn't know what they're doing. And little did they know that up until Wrath of the Lich King, they were wrong, but after that, they seem to have been right since the decrease of the game since then. But nonetheless, we've had people saying this since the beginning of time, it seems. People kind of saying that WoW is never going to be able to maintain what it has, that it'll die in the next expansion, but it seems to keep going. It's been going strong, and even after all these allegations and this huge mass exodus, there's still a ton of people playing the game. Blizzard has absolutely created a long-lasting cultural phenomenon, and I feel bad for the people in TBC saying that. I feel bad for the people in Wrath of the Lich King saying that, since they could not have been more wrong. So let's go on to number 2. So it's the insert other MMO here / retail doomer. Now, anytime a new MMO comes out, you have so many people on Reddit, on Twitter, even in the game, saying that this is the WoW killer. WoW cannot last past this game. WoW will never ever be able to handle EverQuest 2. What are they going to do when everyone leaves? WoW is never going to be able to handle when Black Desert Online really catches on in the West. What is Blizzard going to do? These people say this every single time, and this kind of extends even into the retail version of the game, where you have the classic people saying, if Blizzard never released this version of the game, then WoW wouldn't have died. They're essentially saying that the retail release of the game has led to the game's death, and that release of that game is going to cause the decline. So these people are delusional at best, because it's very hard for a company, especially an established one, to even make a game to compete with WoW. Recently, we've seen Final Fantasy finally able to compete, at least somewhat, but even now, Final Fantasy doesn't have anywhere near the concurrent players and subscriptions that WoW had at its peak. So it's kind of silly to say that anytime a new MMO comes out that it's going to be able to compete with WoW, or it's going to be able to completely destroy WoW, because even the most established ones took years before they even were on anywhere close to a similar footing as World of Warcraft. And rounding it up into third place, we got the Noob Doomer. This is the person who didn't play WoW when they were young and couldn't really get into it now because, for whatever reason, they tried it for about 2 minutes to like maybe an hour, and then they boosted their character and they couldn't figure out what their rotation was, and then they immediately gave up on the game, saying it was horrible, the combat sucks, the world's dead. These people, they'll complain about things in the game that they don't even know what they're talking about. They'll say things like, oh, the dungeons are bad, when really they only ran the normal dungeons. They never tried the higher end dungeons, and they really didn't put much time into the game. They just say WoW is a terrible game, no one should ever play it, and they only played it for about 2 minutes. These are probably some of the most understandable kinds of people, since they never really got into the game, they just didn't see the game. It just becomes a little bit toxic when they're just spamming forums, or spamming the general chat like how this game sucks when they barely played it. But hey, if you have a bad experience with the game the first time, then no one's saying you have to play it, but you can't really say that the game is dying just because you played 2 minutes of it and didn't like it. The game is clearly not dying. Now, following really, really closely to this, in fact, so closely that I almost put them as the same category, is the never WoW doomers. These are the people who have never played World of Warcraft. They're mad that World of Warcraft overtook their favorite game, EverQuest. They're mad that World of Warcraft is sitting at the top of MMOs and how RuneScape needs to be the #1 MMO and it's a shame that it's not, or Final Fantasy or whatever. These people are people who have never, ever, ever even played World of Warcraft, and they've written it off from ever doing it at all. They think it's the worst thing you could do. Playing WoW to them is a cardinal sin. They'll go on Twitter, they'll at the WoW devs, and they'll say stuff that they have never even tried out in the game because they've never even installed the launcher. These people need to sit back, relax, play the game that they love, and not worry too much about a game that they've never played. And it is understandable. You know, you want your MMO to do good, and for your MMO to do good, you feel like WoW needs to die because it's just dominating the industry. But really, when it comes to video games, when it comes to anything really, we need competition within the atmosphere. That's why WoW has been on a decline, is because there's been nothing to really challenge World of Warcraft. So if you're one of these people sitting there yelling, saying WoW is a horrible game, even though you've never played it, think about, if WoW is such a horrible game, why is it dominated for so long? And two, we need games like WoW and Final Fantasy to compete against each other to make each other better. And 5, we have some of the newer WoW doomers. And I think we see it a lot because of Twitch, but basically we have the "it's Asmongold's fault" doomer. Anytime a streamer becomes popular and they say something negative about a game and that game sees a loss in playership, it is of course that streamer's fault. It couldn't be multifaceted. It can't be nuanced. It is 100% that streamer's fault. Now, it could be any streamer, but I see this a lot with Asmongold, where his playing of Final Fantasy has led people to criticize him, saying that he's the reason World of Warcraft is dying. He's the reason that Final Fantasy is thriving. It's his fault. In fact, I've had people say that Asmongold is the reason that the community is toxic, even though he hasn't even been streaming the game since its release. It's his fault that it's been toxic since release. So if you're sitting out there blaming a single streamer or even a single person for the reason that you feel like WoW isn't doing well, you need to stop, because it is far more complicated than just a single person's fault. Maybe Asmongold got people to play Final Fantasy XIV, but if WoW was objectively the better game, then people wouldn't have left the game in the first place. People wouldn't have been looking for that outlet. So never ever just blame a single person, especially a streamer. Now, you could say that he has a lot of negative views, which I would disagree with, but you're free to think that. However, it's hard to say that a single person is responsible for the toxicity within the game or any kind of exodus. So just relax. And then finally, number 6, we have the contemporary doomer. That's me. That's the kind of person who makes an entire YouTube channel to tell you to quit playing World of Warcraft because of the allegations and the lack of communication from the developers and the fact that the game hasn't felt the same for some time and Shadowlands was a big letdown. That's the kind of doomer I am. That's the kind of doomer that these new people coming out are. We got like Pyromancer coming out and he's mad at the story and stuff like that. We have people like Bellular saying that the game is in a really bad state. Now, I will say that people like me, we don't want the game to die. We don't want the game to cease to exist. We want the game to be better, and we mostly want the people responsible for these allegations to be held accountable and for Blizzard to become a nice workplace for everyone involved before we're willing to go back to the company. And you know, I think Preach has talked about it best, where it's like these allegations are a major thing for some people and it's a valid reason to leave the game, but it doesn't mean that the game needs to die. There are a ton of people working on the game who did their best, who never did anything wrong, and they want their work on the game to shine. So I hope the game succeeds. I'm sure that, you know, Preach, Asmongold, Bellular, Pyromancer, I'm sure that they hope that the game succeeds as well. They just think that currently it's not in a state that's playable for them, and that's how I feel as well. So hopefully sometime in the future, maybe in the next expansion, the game will be in a much, much better space and the developers will take some of these things more seriously that I have been outspoken about. So that's all the 6 types of doomers that I have today. I hope you really enjoyed the video. I thought it was kind of funny, just to poke fun, make a little bit of light of a situation that's been so serious for so long, and maybe not such a critical video for once. So yeah, I hope you guys liked it. Please like the video if you did. Consider commenting down below about your thoughts about any of these Doomers, or if I missed one, I could make a follow-up Doomer video if you guys have enough suggestions for ones that I missed. And subscribe to the channel for more stuff like this. But yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.